Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to talk about adoption. According to Arkansas Act 637, public schools shall provide adoption awareness instruction for students in grades 6 through 12, not to exceed 1 hour. In addition, the Act provides a variety of ways this material can be presented. Bentonville Schools has elected to utilize a district-wide format. Parents and guardians are encouraged to view this lesson with their teen. Also, Act 637 states that Arkansas Division of Elementary and Secondary Education will develop the material to be used. This presentation includes material from each grade level that is appropriate for audiences grades 6 through 12. We are going to start by exploring some common myths surrounding adoption.
Adoption ranks pretty high on issues people care about, but lowest on issues people understand. A recent study found that when it comes to adoption, people admit to not knowing much. In fact, they know less about adoption than any other social issue measured, even though most of us have at least one connection to it. So we thought we'd clear a few things up. Myth number 1, adoption is giving up. The term put up for adoption comes from the 1800s, when children were coming off the orphan train. They'd step up onto platforms and wait for a family to choose them. But that language is outdated. It's not giving up, giving away, or putting up. It's making an adoption plan. It's placing a child for adoption. Do you hear the difference? Myth number 2, birth moms don't care about their child. Most people think women who choose adoption, known as birth moms, are very young. In reality, most are in their 20s or 30s. Some are single mothers with other children. Others are young professionals. But all birth moms share one common bond. They are mothers who want the best life possible for their child. Myth number 3, birth parents can show up at any time to take back their child. Despite what you might have seen in movies, these stories are extremely rare. Working with trusted adoption professionals and agencies helps to ease fears, build trust, and form lasting relationships. Usually, families who've adopted domestically experience more openness toward birth parents. Initial concern about the role of birth parents is often replaced with gratitude. Myth number 4, open adoption is damaging to the child. Open adoption is an ongoing relationship, not a one-time event. It can look a lot like an extended family relationship. Most participants in open adoptions report positive experiences. In fact, openness is associated with greater satisfaction with the whole adoption process. For the child, the biggest benefit of openness is access to birth relatives and to their own medical and family histories. When rooted in empathy, respect, honesty, and trust, open adoption creates a richer and more genuine adoption experience for everyone involved. Myth number 5, adoption doesn't affect me. Believe it or not, most Americans have a personal connection to adoption. Think about the family, friends, and co-workers you have who were adopted. If it weren't for their birth mothers, you might not know them today. So no matter who you are, adoption is always a topic that's close to home. By clearing up these harmful myths, we can help change the perception of adoption and celebrate birth moms everywhere for their loving, selfless, and brave decision.
Next, let's take a look at the 3 types of adoption structures.
There are 3 main types of adoption. The first type of adoption is an open adoption. The birth mother chooses the adoptive parents in an open adoption. Biological and adoptive families have access to varying degrees of each other's personal information and the option to contact one another. Adoptive parents are legally and emotionally the child's parents, but the birth mother or father might still have a presence in the child's life, much like a family friend, be it through planned, face-to-face visits, spending holidays together, or receiving phone calls or letters in the mail. The second type of adoption is a semi-open adoption. This type of adoption is more formalized. That means the birth parents and adoptive parents usually don't know each other's last names, phone numbers, or addresses. The birth mother still chooses the adoptive parents in a semi-open adoption. If they see each other face-to-face, it's usually predetermined and in a public setting. Letters and pictures are usually exchanged at important milestones in the child's life. This is the most common type of adoption. The last type of adoption is a closed adoption. This used to be the most common type of adoption, but has recently become the least popular. Also known as a confidential adoption, the birth parents' identities are kept secret and the birth record is sealed. Birth parents do not choose the adoptive parents. Most often, this type of adoption is chosen by a birth mother to ensure her privacy.
In addition to the 3 types of adoption structures, there are 3 main avenues by which someone could adopt. Let's take a look at those.
There are 3 main types of adoption: planned adoption, international adoption, and adoption through foster care. Planned adoptions take place in the United States when agencies like Gladney work with expectant mothers who wish to create an adoption plan for their unborn child. International adoptions are when a family wishes to adopt from a country outside of the United States. Often, these children are older or a part of a sibling group living in an orphanage, and the family adopting them must learn about the children's culture to best meet their needs prior to adoption. Adoption through foster care is when a child or sibling group waiting in the state foster care system is matched with a family to be legally adopted forever. Although Gladney facilitates all 3 types of adoption, in this lesson, we will primarily dive into the process of a planned adoption.
Planned, foster care, and international are the 3 main avenues for adoption. Listen to Abby and Will share their story of planned adoption. In this clip, listen for the reasons that birth mothers may select the option of placing their child for adoption.
Hi, my name's Will.
Hi, I'm Abby, and this is our adoption story. I was in 7th grade and Will was in 8th grade when we met. We started running track together. Even then, we would have conversations about one day if we got married, it would be cool if we adopted. A few years in, we were told that it was going to be really hard for us to get pregnant. We may not be able to.
Having those specific conversations in high school where we had talked about one day how it would be neat to adopt, and it kind of just fell into place when we started to plan to have a family. I was excited most to become a father for the first time. Looking back, I didn't really have that many worries. Luckily, we had resources and friends who had adopted before. The baby that we would adopt eventually would be the baby that was meant for us.
Our first step was to go to orientation. That day, we left Gladney knowing that that was how we were going to start our family. So we started our application, got a phone call a few weeks later that so far everything looked good and it was time to schedule our home study. After we were approved, we made our profile book, which is just a book of pictures and information about Will and me that birth moms use to decide which family they want to place their child with. And at this point, we were waiting for a baby, for a birth mom to choose us. We got a phone call that there was a 16-year-old girl who had looked at our profile and she really liked us. We waited just a few short days. We got a phone call that she had decided on us. At that point, we got to have our first conversation with her. I was very nervous. After Brittany had Matthew, she had 48 hours before she could relinquish or sign over her rights. 48 hours later, exactly, she relinquished her rights, and we were headed to Gladney to sign our paperwork. Placement's amazing. Brittany and her mom came in carrying Matthew, and that's where she placed Matthew in my arms for the first time. It was the first time we met our son, and we became parents for the first time that day, and we'd waited for years for that moment. Matthew's birth mom was 16 years old when she got pregnant. She didn't have a job, she had goals, and she's been able to do those things because she placed her child with a family who could provide for him. She wanted him to be proud of her. When Matthew was about a year and a half old, we found out that we were pregnant. Katie and Emily's birth mom was in her 30s. She had multiple children and was just at a point that she realized she could not take care of herself and she could not take care of her other children if she were to try and raise another one. She loved Katie and knew that she would not be able to give her the life she deserved to have. She wanted the best for Emily as well, and she was so excited that Emily and Katie were going to get to grow up together and have each other. We have semi-open adoption with the kids' birth parents. We just communicate through email and letters and pictures. That looks different for both of the birth moms. Matthew's birth mom, we love to send her pictures of Matthew so she can see how adorable he is, how fun he is. We even get to send her videos of him dancing and singing. There's no difference. These kids are meant to be siblings and they were made to be brothers and sisters.
They're all equally loved. I love all my kids the same. 3 of our 4 are adopted. It was already decided that they were my kids even before we started the whole adoption process.
We just hope that they're all proud of where they came from and what their story is. As they grow up, each one of them knows how loved they are, that we love them before they were placed in our family.
I just want them to grow up to be happy and healthy and just know that we will always love them and we always have loved them.
Next, Leo and Lindsay share their adoption journey. In this short clip, listen to learn about the rights of the birth mother.
My name's Leo,
I'm Lindsay.
and we are here to for placement for our brand new baby boy, and we're super excited and just ready to get it going. What led us to adoption were not being able to conceive naturally, and prayer, and
We just felt called to do it. We will probably tell Lincoln that his birth mom was strong. She loves him so much. We want him to know that.
she's just been awesome. Jessica's amazing, so. He'll always be loved. He's gonna be a mama's boy. There's no doubt about it, so.
We want to give him the environment to do whatever it is he wants to do. We just want to be there to nurture that.
What makes me happy, it's seeing her happy and being able to complete this journey of starting our family.
It's been kind of a roller coaster. Some days we would be happy or it's going to happen, and then some days we're like, oh my gosh, it's never going to happen. Adoption is not scary. I was worried about it being open and not having to completely close, but then when you learn more about the birth mothers and you don't want it to be closed, you end up finding a love for them that you didn't know you would feel.
I would say to baby Lincoln that he's already got so many people that are just in love with him, so ready to meet him. To Jessica, again, I can't say it enough, but she's just been absolutely awesome, and she is going to be a part of our lives forever. Don't count adoption out. Think about it and research it. So give it a try. Make it an option.
In the adoption journeys we just viewed, each time infants were adopted. As we look at other types of adoption, often the child is older. As such, it is important to understand attachment styles. The way we interact in our relationship as adults is formed by our relationships prior to the age of 6. Lindsay Garrett does a great job of explaining this in our next clip.
Up next, you will meet Lindsay Garrett, a licensed clinical social worker and one of Gladney's adoption specialists. She is also the author of Parent Goals, the Millennials Guide to New Parent Preparedness. Lindsay has worked with many adolescents who have experienced loss and grief through the foster care system and is helping us out by explaining the ways trauma can affect brain development. She also talks about different types of attachment styles. Listen, if this sounds complicated, I've got some good news. Lindsay uses examples from Disney movies to help explain this stuff. You might even be able to identify your own attachment style once Lindsay breaks it down. Let's roll it! No, seriously, roll it.
Trauma may cause the brain to primarily function from the brainstem, which is the primitive or lizard brain. It's actually right here at the base of your neck. When the brain is functioning from this place, it's constantly on alert and just focused on survival. For example, if a tiger was going to eat you, you'd do whatever you can to make it out alive. Fun fact, when the brain is in survival mode, you cannot learn because learning takes place in the cerebral cortex, which is somewhere around here. If a tiger was going to eat you, your brain doesn't care about the 3 branches of government. The brain develops a fear response to cope with the trauma. Here's a rundown of the 4 types of trauma responses. Fight. I'm gonna fight the tiger. Flight. I'm gonna run from the tiger. Freeze. I'm gonna lay here very still and hope the tiger leaves me alone. Fawn. I'm gonna make friends with the tiger and then they won't eat me. So we know trauma changes the brain, but can it change back? Sure can. The brain does this super cool thing called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change, rewire, and relearn things. Our brain has neuroplasticity for our entire lifetimes. Another fun fact, the brain doesn't fully develop until age 25, which is also when the developmental stage of adolescence actually ends. So go ahead and tell your parents you're still a teenager until then. Attachment is the science of relationships and is formed primarily in the first few years of life. It works like this. Our experiences with our primary caregivers, usually our parents, during those early years hardwire in our brain how we relate to people. The attachments you develop as a small child, like under 6, become your framework for relationships for the rest of your life, unless you do something intentionally to change it. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the attachment styles, and just for fun, I'll give you a Disney example for each one. Secure attachment is the holy grail of attachment. It occurs when your parents were able to clearly see, interpret, and meet your needs consistently when you were a child. You learned that your parents were safe and there for you if you needed them. If this was your family growing up, emotions were likely encouraged and viewed in a positive light. Disney movie, Moana. First of all, girl has 2 parents who don't die. The bar is low, Disney. Second, her parents guide and support her. Even though they may not understand Moana's desires or behaviors, they care for her and eventually come together in support of her mission to explore and grow in her own identity. Next up, dismissive attachment. Dismissive attachment occurs when your parents misinterpret, brush off, or don't meet your needs consistently as a child. You can't always depend on others to meet your needs, so you decide to only depend on yourself. Emotions, especially the messy negative ones, like sadness, shame, and fear, are dangerous because they can make you feel vulnerable and weak. Those with dismissive attachment styles tend to dismiss or avoid those emotions. When they're distressed, they'll usually turn toward an outward experience, like exercise, working overtime, or food or alcohol, to help them rather than relying on another person. Disney movie, Frozen. Kid has ice powers. Kid's parents don't understand her ice powers, and her powers are scary at times. Trade ice powers for messy emotions, and you've got classic dismissive attachment. Next up, entangled attachment. Entangled attachment occurs when, as a child, your parents see and meet your needs sometimes, and other times they don't, and you don't really know what you're going to get at any given moment. You learn that when you have a person's attention or affection, you have to desperately attempt to keep it. Otherwise, it's going to disappear on you. Emotions, especially the loud and messy ones, can become tools to manipulate those close to you into staying with you. You may struggle to maintain independence in close relationships and may have difficulty making decisions for fear of damaging your relationship. Disney movie, Tangled. Child's adoptive mother locks her in a tower using child's magic hair to meet her need of being forever youthful. She literally won't let her kid leave her and goes to great lengths to make the outside world seem like an unsafe place so her child will want to stick close by. Rapunzel struggles throughout the entire movie to recognize her own needs while meeting the needs of her mother. The movie's even called Tangled. Last up, disorganized attachment. Disorganized attachment occurs when your parents are a source of fear and are absent or unsafe. You learn that your safe place can turn frightening at any moment. Your brain can't really process this paradox, and so it struggles. You may be triggered by past trauma or develop mental health concerns. Those with disorganized attachment styles may struggle to connect with others, and when they're distressed, their behavior may look erratic or disorganized. Disney movie, Little Mermaid. Teenager with a dead mom and an overbearing dad gives up her family and basically her entire identity to pursue a romantic relationship with a dude she met once while he was unconscious. The sure signifier of disorganized attachment is the struggle in forming and maintaining relationships. This may involve trying to attach to anyone you come into contact with, desperately seeking safety, even with a stranger. Ariel's a good example of that. Just because you experience trauma doesn't mean you're automatically going to have attachment issues. Connections with safe adults are a shield for trauma. If you have safe, connected adults in your life who can help you process a trauma experience as a child, that often works as a shield for it. Safe adults can be parents, teachers, coaches, youth ministers, extended family, family friends, and so on.
As we look at adoption of older children, keep in mind what attachment styles may have developed. Our next story is of Michael and James, who were adopted through the foster care system.
I was not alone. My little brother James was with me, and I was responsible for him. I thought every child's bed could be a tire some nights, and other nights, if I were lucky, my bed could be a mat at the local homeless shelter. Even as a little kid, I was determined to survive life on the streets and to do it with my little brother safely by my side. I had no idea that my life was any different from the average child's life. The only thing that kept me going was my little brother. I had to make sure that he was safe, though I was only 10. He was only 6. I watched out for him and made sure that everyone knew no one messed with my brother. Life likes to throw surprises at me. This time it was a good one.
What led us to consider adoption was we had our third child was graduating from high school, and we were thinking there's got to be more meaning to our life.
It just couldn't be all there was, that you go to work every day, you come home, and we had a nice house, we made a good living, but it couldn't see the rest of our lives being that's all we did. We found out about Michael and James through an email that our Gladney caseworker sent to us.
I had to think about getting James and I to school. So I had to think about walking him over there, and usually walking him over there meant I would miss my bus to school, so I would have to walk all the way to my school. I think I was late most of the time, but most of my teachers didn't say anything about it. After school, go back the same route, pick James up, go back home, and have to think about food for the day, what we're gonna be doing, and all that kind of stuff.
The school had contacted CPS because the boys were coming to school dirty, apparently hungry. Quote, "The children have been seen walking the streets late at night. They are currently staying at the Salvation Army shelter. Last week, Michael came to the Boys and Girls Club with a black eye, and he said that he got it when he was playing basketball. The only thing he had eaten all day was a pickle. They do not have very many clothes, and the clothes they do have are filthy. The mother has mentioned her alcohol and drug problem, but does not want to clean up." There was a story that's relayed in the narrative because we saw the CPS file, and it talked about Michael the night that he went into foster care. And it said that Michael was fine in terms of how he was behaving until he found out that he was going to go to a foster care in a different city. And it said he just started sobbing because he wanted to know whether he was still going to be in the gifted and talented classes in his new school. In the midst of all this chaos of his life, that what he valued was excelling at school and just making something of himself.
Well, today's Wednesday's Child Report focuses on two brothers who are very close, but they have very different personalities.
Things started turning around for us with the Wednesday's Child interview. Them kind of really telling us that we were probably going to get adopted, and so that was kind of a turning point for James and I.
When we saw that Wednesday's Child, there are two moments that stick out for me. The one with Michael is when he talked about what he wants from a family, and he said he just wanted to be taken care of, and he wanted a family to take care of him, and it just broke my heart. And then the other thing that stood out about James, both at the time and then when we became acquainted through James and his file, but there's this scene in the Wednesday's Child right at the very end where he's kind of skipping down this ramp, and my heart broke. I mean, the combination between that little skip and that desire of Michael to have a family, it just swept us up.
And we were moving into an area that we were completely, I felt, unprepared for. I had no experience with. And I think the biggest surprise is, sort of despite those concerns and insecurities, it's been far simpler than I would ever have thought it was going to be.
Felt good for me. It was fun to just kind of, again, become a kid. I would get involved in more and more stuff. Started basketball, started music, started getting involved in a lot more stuff.
He was just a good, fine boy, and he had so many choices, right? I mean, his circumstances, he could be bitter, he could be entitled, he could be angry, and instead he is focused on how can I be better? And he's focused on doing it quietly, and I'm proud of that, and I love him for that.
When I think about where I was to where I am, I think both have kind of an impact on my life because I am able to tell my story and relate to others who may be in the same situation, but now I am able to have opportunities that I would not have been able to. The way people could make change is to have a voice. If adoption is something that you're very passionate about, you should do it, but you should also tell people about it. I am no longer primarily known as a toddler who lived on the streets. I have not only survived, I have thrived. James is safely with me. I am bound for college, and these days people just call me Michael.
When most people think about adoption, they usually think of infants or toddlers. This next story is of Chris, a Bentonville High graduate who was adopted as a teen.
Where I'm from by Christopher Colley Surley. I am from where death is your destiny. I am from where a motherless or fatherless child is way too common. From the parts of the earth where the sun refuses to shine. From where you wonder when or where your next meal is coming from. Oh, for like most of my life I wanted to be adopted. Just knowing that you don't have a father there or a mother there, like that was really hard on me. And then always having, like going to school, people picking on you, like those little nitpick things. There was times where I gave up about adoption, and it was only because like I saw that stereotype, like younger kids were getting adopted left and right, and then it's like the older kids are only getting older. Seeing the same people every month when we did the events, just being like, well, it's still us.
We had always, even when we were dating, talked about fostering or adopting. I don't know why we just felt like that was always on our hearts or called to do.
Honestly, I couldn't wish for more than just a loving family. I would want to be adopted to give like life a whole new meaning, a second chance. And
his video popped up one day and I showed it to Taylor and we just could not get him out of our mind. So we just kept going back to that video. We just happened to see on Facebook. We hadn't gone to any of the meetings, informational meetings or anything like that. And we were like, oh, I don't think we're ready. Like we've always talked about it, but I don't think we're ready. But we kept just thinking about that video. And honestly, we just made excuses for a whole year. And then like he said, we finally just said, well, here we are just making excuses because our life is just like pretty easy, but you know, he hasn't had a family. We finally just basically said, if not us, who? And if not now, then when?
Hey Chris, we saw your Project Zero video and we thought it was only fitting for us to make one for you. And if you're up for it, we'd love to give you a home and a family.
First time I met them, I was pretty nervous, just like sitting in the office, not knowing what to expect, what I'm supposed to say. Sat down, looked across, I was like, okay, they're normal people, they're not gonna bite me, or hope not. Talked about coming to the house sometimes, and then, yeah, we just clicked.
Yeah, and we had read something in his case file about him being scared of dogs. So I was trying to think, how is this, this gonna work? The first time Chris showed up to our house, right off the bat, he walks right in and like gets on the floor, starts playing with the dogs, and I was like, I thought you were scared of dogs. And he said, well, maybe when I was, 3, but.
Come here. Come on. Yeah, so he sleeps with me every night. I don't think he's missed a night. He waits by my door, and then when I say it's bedtime, it's bedtime.
Chris, you could tell immediately was very determined to do certain things and had, huge aspirations. He really just needed some sort of consistency in his life. He needed a few people in his corner.
This is what Chris put together and surprised me for Mother's Day. He said, this is the cleanest my room will ever be. That's the first time he saw his room. It's very overwhelming reading a whole file when a kid's been in care that long, and we're like, I don't think that we can do this. And then we just felt God telling us, like, you're equipped, trust in me, like everything will be okay.
These were our adoption day pictures, all in like one big collage. The adoption date, and one of my mom's friends made like a certificate, like a birth certificate basically, so keep that right there.
If other families are considering fostering or adopting a child of color like that, you really have to be willing to put in the work and learn about what that looks like. Our family mentor was a transracial adoptee himself that we worked with for over a year, and I think that was really good for our whole family, so that we knew things from how that he was feeling. We're like, I don't know, just open those lines of communication and how much learning that we needed to do. He chose to keep his name and hyphenate it. We really wanted to value his thoughts and that he wanted to still embrace and honor his name and who he was paired with his family.
This is the record we broke. Conference, 4x1. That was the number one time to stay at that point. So for me, sport, just being a part of sports, it's like for me first, it started off with being part of my family, like being with everyone, like my football players, like track guys, they're all my family. Just them having my backs no matter what.
We know he's going to be of value in this community or whatever community he takes part of.
I do see a little more joy, maybe a little more peace, but Chris had those he great qualities anyway. Just a joy to be around.
We do have this beautiful life, but in life the best things aren't easy, and so it has been very hard, but we've all worked through it together. The three of us as a family took the leap, because
Absolutely.
we could have missed all of this. It really isn't about us, it's about Chris. He's the best thing that ever happened to us. He's so amazing. He's just the biggest part of our life. It's not like we saved him or anything like that. He's going places.
You don't have to just go after the 12-year-olds or younger. There is kids that are 16, 17, 18 that have bright futures ahead of them. It's not too late to save someone. I have a mother and a dad who love and care for me. 2 annoyingly cute dogs and friends who I know have my back. I'm from where coaches love you no matter what. I have 2 sets of grandparents who, even though there's corona around, they would do anything to see me. Where I'm from, resilience is the second biggest word to redemption. Where I'm from is not where I've been, but is where I'm going.
Now that we have looked at planned adoption and foster care adoption, let's take a peek at international adoption. Here is Eden's story.
Around the world we go to learn what we don't know. Meg, who lives here?
Eden.
What does she live in?
India.
Hey, how are we going to get to Eden?
The plane is gonna zoom and all the way to Eden plane.
Yeah, we had always talked about adoption, but we felt too young to adopt, and we thought that, like, we'll pursue this down the road when we have more money, or, we're more stable. At the same time, felt this, like, certainty in our spirit. Even only having Meg at 6 months, felt way too soon to even be kind of rushing into our next child. But thankfully, the process began when it did, because it's taken more than 2 years. And so now we're like chomping at the bit, ready to meet Eden and get her here.
You see those first pictures and her legs are all twisted and her hands are, you can't even see if she has any fingers, and it's scary, and you can't vision your life with a child like that in it at first. Then you say yes, and all of a sudden she's not like this child, she's yours. You start to take on this mentality of already she has everything of ours now.
Hey, listen, do you remember where Mommy and Daddy are going today?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going?
Flying on a plane and rescue Eden.
We'll miss you.
I miss you too.
We love you, Meg. Can I kiss?
2 days from now, we'll finally see the child that we have talked about for years.
I'm excited to be able to feel her little skin and feel the texture of her hair and just all those little things that I know about Meg, where her little scars are and all of that. I want to just take it all in.
As we see her and hold her for the first time, is that complete certainty, that she is ours, that nothing will change that.
There have been so many hard and good moments in the last 3 years, and they've all pointed to this week that we get to come and take her to a home and change her life and ours forever.
So, passports.
I have those in a little bag. I need you to guard this with both of our lives and Eden's.
I'm about to throw up.
Father, thanks for bringing us here safely around the world. We thank you for just the peace that you've given us from the many prayers that have been prayed, but just trust that our encounter with her for the first time in just a few minutes will be exactly what is best for her. It's exactly what's best for us. And Father, we just rest in that truth and that reality.
Just put aside our expectations or our worry or our concern and just allow joy and peace, and for us to just accept Eden in whatever state she decides to present herself to.
Can you bring her in? Let me know when you're ready.
It's okay. It's okay. Who is this? You know who is this? This is Mama.
Yeah, and that's Daddy. And that is your sister.
Meg, that's your sister.
She is so much fun. You're going to love her. We've come a long way, and we are so excited to get to know you. Sorry we can't freak you out.
I think until I saw her, she wasn't fully real to me. And then when she came in, everything just kind of crashed in all at once. And her loss and heartache and our waiting time of 3 years of tears and prayers and unanswered prayers and frustrations, and it was just such a heavy feeling that I couldn't attach words to it, so all that felt appropriate to do was just like mourn. Oh, no. Oh, the silent cry, no. Hey, Kevin.
We understand Eden's limited perspective, you know, that she's an infant, she doesn't understand like the brevity of what's happening and the reality that, you know, what our intentions for her are only good. This will pass, and as she begins to understand, you know, our relationship to her and our love for her, the distance that she wants at this point will fade. I mean, she's going to embrace us ultimately, and we feel sure of that.
But there in the wreckage, beneath bricks and love has come for you.
Happy and thankful as I am that we get to be her parents, I hate that this is how she's getting parents, that she had to be abandoned and tossed out and go through that intense loss.
When he walks in, and everything worth keeping, it comes through
Hey, we want to show you Eden. Eden's sitting here with us.
Hi, Eden.
I feel like there is a difference between rescue and delivering, and that whoever picked her up off of the side of the road and decided she was worth taking to a hospital, and all those nurses that cared for her her first 2 months in the orphanage, I feel like they rescued her. They saved her life. But we are the ones that get to deliver her into something, into a family.
Yeah, my hope for Eden is that she never grow up feeling disadvantaged or unloved, that her story of rejection and abandonment stopped the day that she became our daughter. Ready to get home.
Our time in India has been like a dream, and so when we go home, it's going to be reality. And a lot of times when people say that, they mean that in a negative light, but that reality includes Meg. It's such a good piece right now. It's such a good piece of Eden and us, but it's not completely whole yet. So when we touch down and we walk out and Meg's there, it's just going to be perfect.
Let's look at some interesting data about international adoption.
Over 20 million abandoned children live on their own on the streets today. That's about the same population as the entire state of Florida. Imagine that. Over 1 billion children suffer from at least one form of severe deprivation of a basic need, such as food, water, and sanitation, just because of their lack of parental guidance. I'm Caitlin, and today I'll be talking about how international adoption can help abandoned children all around the world. How often are children abandoned around the world, and why is that? How can international adoption help these children and keep them out of bad situations like human trafficking? Well, it's not only in developing countries that children are being left alone. It's a reoccurring thing that happens everywhere. I mean, there's many reasons for this, such as families having a lack of housing, which leads to homelessness, a lack of financial resources, and/or parents abusing drugs and just not able to take care of their children. Quite often, parents who abandon their children are feeling abandoned themselves. They're feeling isolated in terms of not having a proper support system like other family members to help take care of their children, says Cortez, who published an article about child abandonment in Desert News. Last week, in Kearns, Utah, a child was saved and pulled out of a trash can. His mother, only 23 years old, faces attempted homicide charges. Events like these go on every day that we don't even usually hear about. For example, Katie Davis, at age 18, decided that she wanted to do something meaningful with her life. So she made the decision to move to Uganda. That isn't exactly a decision most 18-year-old girls would make, however, something that she felt she was called to follow through with. In her book that I read, Kisses from Katie, there was many times where she faced complicated situations where she couldn't always help the people that were in need. However, one day she was walking home and passed by an abandoned house. She explained, in the back room on the dirt floor were 7 children. They were completely filthy and starving. One of them was the skinniest human beings who I've ever seen. Katie looked for their parents, but she couldn't find them, so she decided to adopt them. Along with the many other selfless deeds that Katie accomplished in Uganda, after only 1 year of living there, she had adopted 14 girls. That's crazy. UNICEF, which stands for United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, estimates that there are about 18 million children without known parents globally. An article that CNN published about international adoption explains that children who do not live in safe places and who are alone on the streets may be victims of human trafficking. If they do not have a stable home, they may be sold into forced labor and sexual exploitation. This isn't something that only happens in foreign countries. It's a big mishap in the United States as well. Nearly 1 million children enter the sex trade every year. UNICEF, like I said earlier, says that there is 18 million children without known parents globally. This isn't exactly a solvable problem, however, there's many ways for us to help. I'm not saying that everybody has to be like Katie Davis and randomly move to Uganda and adopt 14 little girls, or be like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and adopt 6 kids from different countries. But there's numerous organizations that you can donate your time and money to. AbandonedChildren'sFund.org is a place located right in Santa Rosa to help the kids in our community and the children all around the world. We love the children in our families. We care for the kids in our community, but where does the love for these children stop? Do we not love the kids from other countries, races, and religions as we do our own? Really think about it. Love is universal, so we should care for the kids in need of help all around the world. Remember, we care for orphans not because we're rescuers, but because we are rescued. Thank you.
The last clip that will be shared with you is provided at the end of each grade level lesson. Thus, it is appropriate at the conclusion of this presentation.
In 2001, we had a baby left in a shopping cart, dropped the baby in the cart in the parking lot and left. I think moms were desperate and didn't know what to do with their baby when they couldn't care for them. And they were scared they were going to get in trouble, and so they would just leave them. And they were leaving them in unsafe places where if someone didn't walk up on them in time, they could be seriously injured or even pass away. We saw that they were in a desperate situation, and so this law was passed to promote a good deed.
If a mother decides that she cannot take care of her baby, All she has to do is to go to the emergency room or to the police station and hand her baby over. She will not be prosecuted. She can do it anonymously. There are no strings attached. There is no red tape. It is very, very easy to do when you realize you're at the end of your rope. You cannot take care of this baby. All we want is for the baby to be safe, for the baby to find a home where the parents can take care of them, a loving home.
I used to wonder about that connection. Would there be a disconnect because he wasn't biologically ours? There's not. There's not. I have moments where I look at Caden and I'm like, oh, he gets that from his daddy. Well, I mean, he's learned it from his daddy. I would fight for him. I would do everything I can for him as if I had given birth to him. And I want those mothers to know that there are parents who feel that way, that there doesn't have to be a blood connection. There's a love connection. That sounds so silly, but there's a love connection.
And I would encourage young women who, in the very early stages of taking care of their baby, within 30 days, if they discover they are not ready, that this is an answer.
Thank you for taking the time to view this information about adoption awareness. I hope you found it informative and helpful. To view each grade level's lesson in its entirety, you can visit DESE's website. I have also provided additional resources that may be helpful. Again, thank you.